That's right, Plunder Patrol sails on into a first place finish, and Altergeist is not far behind for the top cut. Make sure you guys smash the living crap out of that subscribe button so you guys don't miss out on more. I was going to be looking at the Springfield, Illinois regional breakdown here. And Plunder Patrol won it all. I'm actually genuinely surprised. Also, like, this top cut is beautiful because you have one Plunder Patrol, you have one Purely, you have one Cashier, pretty standard competitors here. You also have Runic Sprite still doing Runic Sprite things at this point in time. And then you have Dragon Link and Labyrinth, your standard metagame competitors. But when you get down to the rogue side of things here, you have Infernoble and Altergeist doing their thing. Now, I'm going to put Infernoble a little bit more towards the rogue side because it really feels like it's become more of a rogue contender at this point in time. It's not to say that the deck hasn't had lines of success, because don't get me wrong, it has, but it just kind of feels a little bit more mess. And then this is actually the only Altergeist list that I've seen so far making a top 8 out of regionals for this event. So that's something pretty awesome to consider, when you're looking at these events, that the meta is allowing for that to happen. Let's pass on over to deck list. Starting our regional was Plunder Patrol here, and yeah, we are main decking double book. We have a Raigeki for board cleanup here. See that we are playing one Nibiru in the main deck. When you start getting into like the card choices of some of these variants, I always kind of find them interesting to see the one of choices that people happen to go, hey, like, I want to see this maybe every blue moon, but not all the time. So seeing something like this is interesting. The Fenrir's, being able to pull the Fenrir's has been a pretty standard tactic for a little while. Honestly, the fact that you're able to do this and then pressure the opponent, continuing with the aggro, obviously, the Rite of Armesia package is going to be the biggest thing that I think puts this deck a little bit more over the edge and gives it, a chance to participate and do well. But this deck grinded out against some of the strongest meta in the actual room, putting it at first place. So that's really something that you got to consider, as the results were very, very clear for this. Now, our second place here is actually Purely sporting off the triple Book of Eclipse. Now, you're flipping a coin in this format. You're either playing Book of Moon or you're playing Book of Eclipse. It depends on how much you need to control in the meta. What are you most worried about? Are those aggressive flip downs for more than one monster going to matter? And obviously you're going to be able to control, what the results of the possible end phase consequences. Doesn't happen all that much, but it is genuinely something that you do need to be aware of at the end of the day. And yes, we are on double Purely Leap here. I actually think that double is fine. If you're trying to play triple in the TCG format, I feel like that's where you're going to have the issues at the end of the day. So stick to the 1 to 2 to maximize the safest results out here. Also, extra deck looks fine. The only thing you can really complain about is maybe Tuzu's has been a lot more go-to for a lot of people. All right, next up here, we have some Live Twin Sprite Runic. The good old consistent package with the evenly matched, tear the opponent's field apart. I would actually almost say that this is old reliable at this point in time. This is the deck that players are going back to pretty reliably here and going, hey, I might not be able to win, a regional with this, but I can certainly take down a top 8 with this and ensure that you're able to do your thing, because consistency is still a hell of a thing in the game, because, Fountain's still at 2, so you're going to take as much advantage of this as you actually can. And, yeah, still the inclusion of Sleipnir in here is kind of cute. Haven't really seen this version of the deck trying this, but I guess it does give some spot removal / link climbing options as well. Not exactly, old reliable, but I guess it does get the job done at the end of the day. So interesting little tech choices, and just seeing how the overall meta is evolving for this deck. Fourth place. Oh my god, it's Shifter.deck. It's okay. We're actually not main decking any Lances for the first time across the board for half of these lists that I've seen. The Lances are actually tucked away down here in the side deck. It's still the counter pick to make sure that if your opponent books your monster, you have the Lance chain to make it immune, and your opponent's like, well, can't really do anything about that. The Book of Moon's pretty standard. I guess the biggest thing that you can make the argument for here is, is the enemy controller really worth it? Is dedicating the slot to this versus 3 more Book of Moons, something like the Lances, for example, is it worth it? And I will say that more people have been going more towards Lance. Lance has been a pretty strong push in that direction for the tech choices for a majority of this format. So something to really consider. We will see Econ show up as a 1 to 2 of maybe, but 3 as of right now feels like it's a little bit more of an extremity per se. All right, we have Infernoble. Once again, Triple Book of Moon. I'm going to keep emphasizing this to the end of time because it's hilarious that the game has evolved so far, and we're right back to a quick play defense, shut down the opponent so they can't actually play the game. What else do we have going on here? So we have the Thrust and the Talents. It's pretty normal. 50 cards is also... I guess this is pretty normal. I mean, you're trying to maximize how much warrior stuff you can shove into your toolbox to make sure you can get your, combo going. We are playing the 1 Altergeist Exceed, which is fine. We're not playing the High Lancelin, which is the Dark Synchro, I believe, for the Infernoble stuff. I don't know why people were pushing for that, but I mean, the Altergeist is just a stepping stone into Zeus as it is. I mean, you get stuck with 2 level 4s, you have a board breaker on your hands. So you are getting some sort of value out of it at the end of the day. You just got to consider, is it going to be the most optimal build? Is the aggression that I'm putting on the field going to be worth it? And I think it is. Next up here, hey, it's our Altergeist list. And yes, we are playing Kunguri. We're playing triple copies of the Ledger too. Target up to 2 monsters your opponent controls. Banish them till the end phase. Then your opponent gains 1,000 life points for each monster that left the field by this effect. This is actually pretty good. So you can spot removal something off your opponent's field. Use the Mellow Zeeks here to blow them off of the field so you don't have to worry about them being an issue. And then you have, climbing potential up here to set up, anything that you need to in your extra deck. I also see this little thing vibing here. Interesting. I don't really have much else to really tell you here. The fact that you can play dead things in your extra deck, or, the fact that you can technically make that as a... little side thing. Okay. What else we got going on here? We have some Dragon Link. Hey, we have Chaos Emperor, the Dragon of Armageddon. So this has been kind of hit or miss, this format, if you are playing this. There's nothing wrong with you if you are playing this. It's just, I think a lot more builds have started to head away from this. It is an incredibly good card. It does help things out along the strategy. But it's been, I think a lot of people have definitely strayed away from it. See, we're also playing the Rocket Coder here as well. This is definitely another interesting thing. We did see out of the Kong's Cards tournaments a while back that Rocket Coder was starting to show up, and it was starting to kind of turn heads a little bit. And I know a lot more people were looking around, they're like, Rocket Coder, is that really a thing that's going to stick around? I haven't seen it in anything else besides this list so far, but it is definitely an idea that I think people will get behind, at least, testing out more of the Rocket stuff overall in general. And of course, we do have some Labyrinth stuff here. Once again, Labyrinth Unchained looks like it's definitely moving up in the world. And I mean, the cool thing about playing Labyrinth Unchained is, you splash in an escape, and you get to play the Unchained Soul of Sharava here as well. And I mean, you just pack in, Lord Yamas into the extra deck because it's just 2 fiend monsters to make it. It literally is built for this deck, all right? You have all of the extra synergy that you could want just handed to you right here. And I think that that's genuinely impressive at the end of the day, that we're finally seeing one of the OCG's coolest concoctions actually making lines of play. And this was a faster evolution than I thought. I actually didn't think we would see this until post Age of Overlord here in the TCG, but players have started to adapt towards this. So I think that this is something that you need to be aware of here in terms of the meta with where we're heading. So I have one more little interesting list out of this event for you here. And it's actually a purely deck playing Saravis. Now remember, Saravis has a hand trap effect that lets you discard this card when your opponent would target a card or an effect that targets a monster you control and it negates it. Now, this basically ensures that your purely monsters are essentially able to rank up into their bigger forms, and you're able to put that aggression on your opponent so that you can set up and play the game. Also, 6 Book of Moons, you see the 1 leap. Most everything else is pretty standard for this deck. So seeing that, we're locking down, a top 16 finish here, it's actually pretty good. So what do you think about the Illinois regional breakdown. Please leave a comment down below. Tell me what you guys think, and I'll see your beautiful faces back here later in the day, guys. Peace out. Patrons, thank you.
Thank you so much for watching. Check out these other videos.